My name is Mike Christensen, and welcome to Critical Role Demystified. Today we're going to recap and review episode 6 of the Vox Machina campaign, called Breaching the Emberhold. Of interest, this is the first episode where all 8 of the cast members are actually present for the entire game. And appropriately enough, this episode opens with the theme song for the very first time. Anyway, let's start the recap. Moving through the Underdark, the party comes across a Duergar fortress called the Emberhold. They cross paths with a Duergar patrol, and Vex listens in to hear what they're saying. I suspect this is something that came up a lot in their home games as well, because even this early in the show, Matt is very good about making sure that all the NPCs have something to say if they're eavesdropped upon.
You overhear one of them say, "Keep your eyes peeled, that thing is still out there." Another one goes, slaps him and says, "Horik said it ate a whole scouting party in seconds." Another one goes, "Listening to Horik was your first mistake. Shut up and keep walking." And they'll keep pushing, at which point the same kind of scared one before him says, "Well, I mean, if that one went crazy, look at the other one's cracked too. I don't know if I feel safe running alongside any one of that Kavard's picks anymore at this rate."
They also encounter the remains of a Duergar that have been, out and about for many days. This Duergar was either ripped apart or chewed upon, or maybe both. And they suspect this is the work of another abomination, much like the ones that have been coming up and attacking Craghammer. They also come across the statue of a Mind Flayer, and Clarota, the exiled Mind Flayer that is currently serving as their ally, is able to confirm that yes, this was an actual Mind Flayer. The Duergar sometimes bring basilisks on their patrols.
As far as I've noticed, occasionally these patrols do walk with a lizard creature that has this ability. It's generally used as a threatening device or a guardian amongst the city.
Oh, so the Duergar
have basilisks.
have this as like their pets.
A trained beast, yes.
Why do you suppose they used it on one of their own?
I can only imagine maybe this transpired before the Union.
Right.
And it's left as a warning.
As you guys push forward, Clarota lags behind a little bit to inspect the statue and just kind of looks it over for a second.
Did you know him?
Dave.
God damn it.
The party has fought basilisks before in their home games, and they know that basilisk blood can be used to cure petrified victims. But Matt reminds them that it's a liquid distilled from basilisk's blood.
We sprinkled some of its blood on your eyes, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
I didn't understand.
You did.
You did.
I was very,
Yes, that's
I was
correct.
very sad.
We used the blood of the creature.
Yeah,
Yes, I remember that.
there is a liquid that can be distilled from the basilisk's blood.
Okay.
You know, just a little reminder from Matt, because he knows it is potentially going to be relevant at some point during the Emberhold part of the adventure. They find a secret door set into the side of the Emberhold, but it opens from the inside, and they need to clear a few Duergar guards off of the wall before they can open the door. The fight with the Duergar is pretty one-sided.
The one who sees you, who's bringing up his crossbow to fire, gets impacted and blown off the side of the wall. The one facing away gets blown up towards, slams into the side of the wall right at the edge, and then topples over at the side.
Wilhelm
Both
scream.
plummeting over. The brief Wilhelm scream. You're standing there, you watch this happen.
I didn't have to do anything, Scanlan!
Make out with me.
So as he gets up, he goes back for his warhammer. Before he has a chance to, you cleave off one arm and send the axe right into the center of his torso, silencing him in an instant. He slightly spreads the wound.
Yes!
So as the Duergar is getting up, he goes, you just run up and poof, and he falls back into the back and goes, and starts giving a horrible, painful scream as he's essentially like flailing in the magma melting.
Someone shoot him in the mouth.
I say shh, 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 and I do the I wind down to like push him under the lava.
Okay, so as he's screaming,
And then they take forever just trying to get the last guard off of the wall.
good thinking on that
We're a
point.
party of 7 people, just like
you.
you.
The tree.
Yeah.
They get through the door and enter a dungeon full of construction paper. Vax sneaks ahead of the party, and half of the cast either gets really bad FOMO or they get really bored because they immediately start trailing behind him in waves. They kill some guards and they find some prisoners. They find a torture room where Lady Kima is strapped down to a table and where she has been tormented by a Duragar enforcer. The room is really small, the hallway outside of it is really small, so most of the party can't actually get into the room and get into combat. But they all acknowledge that Grog really hasn't had a chance to do his thing in a while, so they all just let him have this one.
Okay, I'm going to try and take a shot and blow the lock.
Okay.
Okay, so all I'm gonna do is grab the hole of the door and yank it open and yell, "Your turn, Grog."
Okay.
I encourage violence.
I look at Grog and I foam at the mouth a little bit with the corpse and I
Encourage violence.
encourage violence.
I smack Grog on the ass and say, go get him.
All right.
Also, Keyleth gets a kill in a roundabout way.
I take the dead body that's on top of me and just pick it up with my mouth.
Okay. In your mouth, the body stirs. It wasn't quite dead.
Oh, it was supposed to, I wanted a dead one. It makes sense. I drop that one and find like a dead
Well, you wanted a dead one. It is now.
Okay, well that's fine.
And then Grog gets to do his thing.
You said the room's full of shiny pointy things on the wall, right?
Yes.
I would like to bull rush the dwarf up and against the wall and try and spear him with all the sharp shit on the wall.
Okay.
Then the party meets Lady Kima, and the introduction is a little rocky.
He just kind of looks about the room a second. Looks like there's a bit of haze, but in through the haze, there's just this constant anger.
Oh.
And she looks at us. So, are you gonna let me go? Come on, release these chains! You heal her. She goes, can I? She sees your mace and goes, can I borrow that for a second? Please?
My mace?
Your mace, please.
What do you need it for? Are you going to give it back?
She, as you hand it out, she grabs it from your hand,
That was rude.
walks to the edge of the table,
I don't like her.
stares at the dwarf that is currently hooked onto the wall, and with an RGL just slams it right into his face, causing his head to explode against the back of the wall, slams it again and again and again, and is just making like hamburger of his entire body. The mace she borrowed from you.
I'm sorry I questioned.
Would you like to touch my axe?
If you want to part with it, certainly.
Maybe we should get out of here.
And then we get into the most important scene in the episode, and in my opinion, one of the best scenes in the entire arc, when Lady Kima meets Clarota.
As you move up to her, you notice she's standing at the bottom of the stairs with attention, staring up at the top of the stairway, where Clarota is looking down at her and backing away. And she goes,
yes.
Wait!
And we're just going to dive into the lessons because everything I have to say is related to this specific scene. My first dungeon master, Daniel Fernandez, said something that has stuck with me for the past 14 years. He said that he hates it when he is in a position where two NPCs have to talk to each other, and he tries to avoid it whenever he can. Because when NPCs talk to each other, the players become the audience, which is not what they signed up for when they agreed to play D&D. So whenever possible, if he's in a situation where there are multiple NPCs in a scene, he'll make sure that they are addressing the players and not each other. And while Matt Mercer is the only dungeon master I've ever seen break that rule successfully, he has actually done it. He's actually had NPCs talking to each other in a way that was still dramatic. It's very hard to do, and we will talk about that someday. I still think about that advice a lot when I watch Critical Role and when I watch this scene. Because Clarota and Kima stare each other down, but they don't really talk to each other. They talk to the party.
without taking her eyes off of Clarota, are you to tell me that you've come down here and allied yourself with an entity that is the anathema of the mountain?
And here, Vox Machina is forced to make a choice. Lady Kima does not want to trust a Mind Flayer, and she has no reason to. Clarota doesn't trust Lady Kima not to betray the party and kill him. So what will the players do?
She walks towards you, and with each step, you can see the color of her eyes begins to vanish, giving way to an extremely bright, burning silver light. And she says, "Listen, you come with me without this creature, or you continue with it and without me. Listen, I am not going to walk where I am not welcome.
wake up with this
Giving us a
woman's blade in my back. We made a deal.
This scene essentially plays out like a skill challenge, although it's not called that, and the rules are not quite as hard and fast as that. But the basic idea is there. A player will make an argument to try to convince Lady Kima to trust Clarota, and then Matt will ask them to make a roll.
And have you not thought for a second that perhaps all of you are being manipulated by this creature? You can see the greatsword now flares with divine energy, and she goes, I will not stand here and let us ally ourselves with this filth.
Lady Kima! None of us are half-wits, as you're claiming. We would not be fooled by such a creature like this. The words he speaks is true, and we believe him.
You go ahead and make a diplomacy check. Or a persuasion.
Get it on, Tiberius.
And what's really clear here is that this is not the same as when Scanlan has failed a stealth check over the past couple of episodes and has been humming to himself. These rolls are not to determine whether the party is capable of making their case. It's not to determine their skill. These rolls are determining whether or not Kima is listening and is receptive.
People with kids.
I walk between them and put hands out. And say, we all want the same thing. Kima, tell us, what is it that you've come here for? What is your purpose here? Speak your mind if you are true.
Kima turns back towards you, the same kind of glowing flare in her eyes. I've come here to rid this mountain and this continent of the darkness that resides deep within the bowels of this thing's city.
Clarota, why have you come here? What is it you seek?
Clarota kind of settles into itself for a second.
I've come to destroy this creature, Kaval, and free my people.
Then the two of you, get over your fucking shit! We want the same thing here. Get over yourselves, both of you. We share a common purpose. We are going to end this fucking bullshit. Kima, we have come here for you. Pay us the respect that we have earned. We have come a long way for you.
However, this doesn't ride entirely on rolls. It's not a formal skill check, and Matt seems to be giving just as much weight to the arguments as he is to the actual results of the dice rolls.
Lady Kima, if I may, if you're intending us to choose between you and our ally, Clarota, and we can't get you to see eye to eye with us, then I'm afraid you leave us no choice but to choose our own friend, Clarota, over you.
What?
We're giving you one last chance. Either you are with us, or you are against us. This is a threat.
But I honestly think that what makes this scene work as well as it does is that when Lady Kima and Clarota are threatening each other, they're still basically talking to the party. Alright, yes, at the end, Clarota does break that by issuing a threat to Kima. But everything Kima says is directed to the players. And everything else Clarota says is also directed to the players. The last line goes to Kima, but that's still dramatic, because he's basically establishing the stakes for this alliance going forward, and something the players need to hear said to Kima so they know what the stakes are going forward.
If we are to travel together, this one must walk in step the entire time. One single misstep. And I will not hesitate to carve that head from your body in the name of Bahamut. Clarota, our hands still crossed, kind of takes a step down the stairs towards her. Its tendrils in its mouth kind of...
And please, understand, if you ever intend to try and cut my life short, I will also not hesitate to bore that beautiful mind from your skull.
Once we murder this Kavan, you guys are going to laugh so hard.
So friends then?
In this scene, Matt remembers the thing that so many Dungeon Masters forget, and I've been guilty of this just as much as anyone. The players are the main characters of the story. A conflict between Kima and Clarota could be very interesting all on its own, but the only reason that it is this dramatic is because the party is stuck in the middle and they have to make a choice. They essentially have to carve a third path, not choosing Kima or Clarota, but choosing the third option that no one's presenting of mediating a peace between them. I don't know if Matt knew whether or not this would be the end of the alliance with Clarota. To be clear, I'm sure he thought about what might happen, what choices the group might make, but I don't think he planned it that way. Based on his style, I just think he knew who Kima was, and he knew who Clarota was, and what Clarota was. And I think he knew that if Clarota was still with the party when they encountered Kima, it was going to be a problem. He had Kima act authentically, but he also made sure there was plenty of warning and plenty of opportunity for the party to intervene before she got a swing off on Clarota and had a chance of doing any damage to him. What's especially interesting about this scene is that the party seems completely divided, meaning if they did have to choose between Kima and Clarota, it would almost be a clean break down the middle of Vox Machina. Vax, Scanlan, Keyleth, and Percy seem prepared to take Clarota's side should it come to that. And while Vex and Tiberius do a lot of work defending Clarota, they, plus Pike and Grog, seem pretty willing to side with Kima. At the end of the episode, Travis realizes this and said that it was going to be like Marvel versus DC. But really, if Kima and Clarota couldn't work together, I think it was going to be a Vox Machina civil war.
As she steps up the stairs towards Clarota,
Oh god. Okay.
Clarota kind of steps back, hands out in front of this little spark of arcane energy, forming in his hands. Clarota, bringing the sword up in front of her, pushes Clarota aside and continues ascending back up the stairs to the first level. The first level. Clarota puts the hands folded back together. Shall we? And walks up the stairs after her.
Thank you so much for watching this episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks with episode 7, The Throne Room. If you're watching along with us, I will say this one could go either way. Most of the episode is Vax sneaking through hallways and the rest of the party getting antsy. But there are a couple of interesting fights and traps, and the fight at the end of the episode is really well done. But don't worry, in 2 weeks, we're going to have plenty to talk about for this episode. If you want to see the video as soon as it comes out, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. Please like the video so that YouTube knows that this is a video people like. It sounds like I'm joking, but no, that actually is what that does. It helps a lot. If you'd like to support the channel, there are 3 ways to do that, and the links for all of them are in the description below. I have a Patreon where you can help me upgrade my equipment and potentially down the road take a little bit more time off to make some of these videos a little more often. I have a Discord where we have a bunch of people talking about D&D and RPGs and putting together games and having a lot of fun, offering advice to each other. So if you want to join that community, that would be a lot of fun. We'd love to have you. And I've got a newsletter. You can sign up for that through my website, and you'll occasionally get some updates about other things I've got going on. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, play fair and have fun.
Hold on. Because you didn't. Where the fuck? War God's blessing.
Cleric flail.
No, I can't do that because that's what a creature makes an attack roll. Get him, Scanlan.
Go ahead and roll
This is the
athletics.
meanest thing I've ever done!
No, remember you killed that kid one time.
Oh, thanks for bringing that up.